Welcome to part 2 of phase 1, prospecting. So what we'll be talking about within prospecting is the importance of prospecting, the different channels we can use to prospect, the 6 principles of successful prospecting, and then we'll talk about specific advice for each channel. So we'll go through cold calling, cold email, shared connections, networking, conferences, social selling, referrals, and inbound. So why is prospecting important? Why should we even talk about this at a high level? So really the big reason prospecting is important is because nothing happens in sales until we have a potential customer to talk to, right? We can't sell anything until we have someone to sell something to. So prospecting is going to be your methodical approach to opening sales conversations. A lot of people are very haphazard about this, but we want to approach this in a very structured way so that you can build a scalable sales system in the future. And in my opinion, prospecting is going to be the most important part of the sales process for early stage startups because the number of opportunities you can open, the number of people you can pitch is going to more greatly influence your success than any other factor in sales. So healthy prospecting will help you build a strong sales pipeline better than anything else. Nothing else is going to help you get more potential opportunities, help you learn more, and help you grow revenue like great prospecting will. So when we don't prospect well or we don't dedicate the time to prospecting, bad things happen. When founders ignore prospecting as part of their founder selling, they're going to sell less, just as a fact. If you're having less sales conversations, you're going to make less sales. And this will also become a huge disadvantage for future sales reps. So the success of future sales reps is going to be dependent on how much founder selling the founder has done, and then how much of that they've taken and turned into a scalable system. And it's harder to create that scalable system if founders aren't doing as much selling, and they can't do as much selling if they're not doing great prospecting. So if these things happen, if founders don't spend the time they need to prospecting, they can't fulfill the outcomes of founder selling, which are to generate enough revenue to pay a sales rep. It's going to take them longer to be able to afford sustainably a salesperson so they can get out of sales, and then to figure out their sales motion so they can make sure that salesperson is successful. So actively prospecting is going to be the first step in founder selling and arguably the most important. So here's what you need to do as a founder to nail prospecting. Your job in prospecting is to learn how to turn cold contacts into sales conversations while keeping an eye out for what works and what doesn't. So you need to learn how to get people interested and engaged in talking about the problems you solve in your solution and figuring out exactly how you can do that so you can teach the next person to do it. You need to be able to lay out a prospecting plan for your early sales team. So test different prospecting methods and channels so you can help them accelerate their learning so they don't have to spend time replicating all the things you're figuring out. So as a founder, you should be prospecting. You should be dedicating a reasonable amount of time in your week to prospecting, and you want to focus on opening sales conversations so you can generate that revenue, and then also focus on figuring out how future reps will prospect effectively.
Okay, so hopefully here you've gotten a high level vision of, the reason that you should be prospecting as a founder when you're doing your founder-led sales. I don't think, though, I use strong enough language. This is something that you absolutely must do. I know a lot of founders feel that prospecting work is beneath them. They're more than willing to hop on demos and do closing and follow up and all the other things to generate sales, but prospecting feels like something beneath you. Maybe you'll hire an AI SDR, or maybe you'll just set up cold email. Maybe you'll set up an agency. If you do those things, your growth and the most important step of your growth will always be in someone else's hands. So this is one of the hard things that you're going to have to do that you're probably not going to like. Most people really hate prospecting. They find it really tedious. They feel like it's a waste of time because largely it is a numbers game, and you're going to get slapped in the face a lot more times than you get a win. And you just have to get used to that. And first, I think that's good because it's going to help you build some empathy for the work your salespeople are going to be doing if you don't have a sales background. And then in addition to that, this is going to let you generate the learnings that help accelerate those salespeople. Because if you don't do this now, you're going to pay someone to do it later. And that's going to add risk. And I could just go through all the reasons, and hopefully you've heard me say them in section 1 of phase 1 in this course, all the reasons that you shouldn't leave it to someone else to figure out your sales, right? That's the whole kind of idea of this course is let's de-risk your early sales hires by you doing a lot of the work yourself and figuring these things out so we can tell them. And then we're going to try to hire the right person as well so that we close that gap a little more, and maybe the things you missed, they're going to pick up on. But big picture here is please, please, please do not skip prospecting in your founder-led sales. In my opinion, it's the most important thing you can do, and it is the thing that founders are most likely to skip. All right, if you have some big blocks around prospecting, this sounds like something you really want to do, or maybe you're the special 1% case that shouldn't, and you want to talk to me about it, come here to revliftoff.com. That's REVLIFTOFF.com. You can scroll down here, see this pretty picture of me, and after you're done admiring that for a minute or two, you can come down to the How I Help section, and you can set up a one-on-one session with me, and we can talk about your prospecting efforts, the things you've done, new things you might try, and if you want, easier implementation of everything I talk about in this course, grab the workbooks. They're just $35. You get 13 workbooks, and I'm probably going to add a couple to these as well as I go through all these courses, record all my updates and stuff. So, hey, good luck, and thanks so much for watching.